GRIDbeat is a new rhythm-based dungeon crawler game that has a focus on traversing a level and escaping enemies and projectiles to the beat of the music. GRIDbeat was developed by the indie game studio Ridiculous Games and published by Acclaim on March 26, 2026. And Acclaim was kind enough to send us a key to the game for the purposes of this review. Which, on a side note, it's kind of nice to see Acclaim's name show up again after so long, with them now being a publisher to help indie game developers get their games out there. But back to GRIDbeat, where you take on the role of a hacker who has been hired to get some data for an unknown client. But after getting to the data, security measures activate, locking the hacker in this system, where they need to evade being destroyed by turrets, missiles, mines, and AI that have all awakened, with each stage having a layout showing the path you can take to move forward. But that doesn't mean the game is easy, as you'll have to solve puzzles and open up the paths in front of you, and you'll come across blockades that'll stand in your path that you'll need to get around, or hack your way through, using small time-based attacks to destroy these blockades when you come across them. Then on your path, you'll find little gates that you'll need to move out of your way by activating switches nearby. And then even stronger blockades that'll require you to find data sets in order to hack your way through them. There's a good variety of obstacles you'll come to find on your path that'll force you into different directions, sometimes requiring you to go up and down different various levels in order to find your path through. Then there are the enemies that'll get in your way. This is where the biggest challenge came throughout my playthrough of GRIDbeat, and the parts that kept killing me over and over. There are a good variety of enemies you'll come across that all attack on different timings, and you'll need to figure out those timings in order to be able to evade them. Sometimes they'll even be on top of each other, requiring you to time your moves to avoid them or get them to attack other enemies. And then there's some enemies that will follow you throughout the map that you'll have to avoid, and set down traps in order to give yourself some extra time to escape them. It's a decent amount of variety without it feeling overwhelming trying to remember each kind of enemy you can come across. But it still gets hectic as you're trying to keep moving to the beat of the music, which the soundtrack for GRIDbeat is great. There's a good mix of different songs here from different artists. Each stage has their own song that goes to it, all featuring a good beat to be able to navigate the level to. And it makes each level feel unique as you keep moving forward to the different songs. Honestly, the music was probably the highlight of the game to me while I was playing it, getting through each stage to hear the next song that was coming. But sadly, that music wasn't enough. GRIDbeat has a lot of great ideas in it, but some of them just felt a little unpolished while playing it. For example, the hacking bits were a good addition to the game, but it seemed to slow down the game, bringing the rhythm to a halt for a moment, then forcing you to pause for a moment so you can regain your traction. There's also not as much exploration as I expected. When I think of dungeon crawlers, I think of going into multiple directions in a level to find everything it has to offer. But GRIDbeat is pretty straightforward with where you can and can't go. There's no real exploration to it. It's more puzzle-based than exploring, which isn't a problem, but I expected a little bit more dungeon crawler mechanics when I saw the game's description as a rhythm-fueled cyber dungeon crawler. That kind of description got me excited for the game. But as it stands, the most exploration you have is sometimes there's small deviations to the path you're on, where you can go up or down a level in order to find secret collectibles. Other than that, it's just the single road that you're on, and those deviations don't last too long before you're right back to the standard path that leads to the end of the level, which was kind of disappointing, and it starts to get repetitive pretty quickly. But I will admit, the boss battles are pretty fun and creative. But again, there's just the same pattern to defeat them as they stay in a single space, and you have to hit switches and attack them to the rhythm of the song, all while avoiding attacks from other enemies and lasers, and keeping to that narrow path, which again, it just gets repetitive after a while. Overall, I give GRIDbeat a 2 out of 5. I'll be honest, there is some fun to be had with GRIDbeat, and the soundtrack to the game is perfect for a rhythm-based game. But the biggest problem I have with the game is that the playstyle is just kind of boring to me. I did have fun with the gameplay and trying to evade enemies and solve puzzles, but overall the game just got repetitive, and by the time I hit the second boss of the game, I was just kind of done with it. I had high hopes for it too when I first started playing, as I enjoy a lot of rhythm-based games. The description alone got me excited and reminded me a lot of Crypt of the Necrodancer, which is a game I love, and I'll periodically come back to it when I'm traveling to play it for a bit. But GRIDbeat just wasn't the kind of game that I wanted to keep playing even after a couple hours. But maybe someone out there will find those parts of the games don't bother them as much as they did for myself. And luckily, for anybody that's interested in GRIDbeat, there's a demo that you can check out so you can get a feel for the game yourself. And if you want to check it out, links to find GRIDbeat can be found in the description below. Also, if you made it this far, hit that subscribe button and check out some of our other videos as well. And if you have suggestions for other games you think we should play, let us know in the comments. Until next time, this has been Brad with the Bickering Nerds.